My brother Ryan's new house was exactly what I'd expected. A 3-bedroom colonial in the suburbs, white picket fence, 2-car garage, the kind of place that screamed safe choice and conventional success. He'd paid $485,000 for it, which he'd mentioned at least 5 times in the family group chat. I pulled up in my 10-year-old Honda Civic. Scratched paint, broken passenger mirror. A car I'd bought in college and never bothered to replace. I parked on the street behind my sister Amanda's gleaming BMW SUV and my parents' Mercedes sedan. The housewarming party was already in full swing. Through the windows I could see 30 people milling around Ryan's living room, holding champagne glasses, admiring the fresh paint and new furniture. I grabbed the wine I'd brought, a $15 bottle from Target, and headed inside. Lily. My mother, Patricia Green, spotted me immediately. She wore a Talbot's dress and her country club pearls. "You're late. We've been here for an hour." "Traffic," I said, which was a lie. I'd been finishing a conference call with my Tokyo investors about a high-rise development deal. "Well, you're here now." She air-kissed my cheek and immediately frowned at my outfit. "Is that the same dress you wore to Thanksgiving?" "It's comfortable," I said. The dress was from H&M, 3 years old, perfectly serviceable. My sister Amanda appeared, perfectly coiffed in designer everything. At 34 she was 2 years older than me and had spent our entire lives making sure I knew it. "Lily. Oh my God, you actually came. I told Ryan you probably wouldn't be able to afford the time off from that nonprofit job." "I made it work," I said. "How generous of them to let you have a Saturday off." She sipped her champagne. "Come on, let me give you the tour. Ryan's house is gorgeous. So much nicer than, well, anything you'll ever be able to afford." I followed her through the house. It was nice, standard suburban nice. Granite countertops that weren't quite the right shade. Hardwood floors that were pretty but showed every scuff mark. A master bathroom with one of those rainfall shower heads that looked expensive but had terrible water pressure. 4 bedrooms, Amanda said proudly, as if she'd purchased the house herself. "Ryan and Jennifer are thinking about kids, so they needed the space. The 4th bedroom is a home office right now. Ryan does all his financial planning work from home. My brother worked as a financial advisor at a regional firm. He made about $120,000 a year and thought that made him wealthy." We returned to the living room where Ryan stood with our father, holding court about interest rates and market trends. Dad worked in corporate insurance and had spent my entire childhood preaching the gospel of stable careers and smart financial planning. "Lily's here," Ryan called out when he saw me. "Little sister made it out of the city." Everyone turned to look. 30 faces evaluating my old dress, my Target wine, my general appearance of not quite measuring up. "How's the apartment?" Ryan asked. "Still renting that place in. Where is it again?" "The West Side," I said. "The bad part of the West Side," Amanda corrected. "Lily, we keep telling you, you need to move. That neighborhood is dangerous." "It's fine," I said. "It's a dump," Mom said sadly. "Sweetheart, your father and I have offered multiple times to help you with a down payment on a condo. Somewhere safer. Somewhere nicer. But you're so stubborn." "Pride before sense," Dad added, shaking his head. "That's always been Lily's problem." I smiled and said nothing. I'd learned years ago that correcting them was pointless. They'd decided who I was, struggling nonprofit employee, living in a dangerous neighborhood, too proud to accept help, and nothing I said would change their minds. "How is the nonprofit job?" Jennifer asked. She was Ryan's fiancée, sweet but status conscious. "Do you work with homeless people?" "I work in housing," I said, which was true if incomplete. "That's so admirable," Jennifer said in that tone people use when they mean, "I could never lower myself to that." "It must be hard though, financially. Nonprofits don't pay well." "I manage," I said. "Barely," Amanda muttered. "Lily drives a car from 2014. She wears the same 3 dresses. She lives in a studio apartment in a bad neighborhood. But sure, she manages." "Amanda," Mom chided half-heartedly. "Be nice." "I am being nice. I'm being realistic. Lily made her choices. She wanted to work in the nonprofit sector instead of getting a real job. She wanted to help people instead of building a career. Now she's 32 and living like a college student." Several people nodded sympathetically. "Poor Lily," their expressions said. So well-intentioned but so impractical. Ryan clapped his hands together. Hey everyone. Time to set up the entertainment system. I got this amazing 85-inch Samsung TV. Top of the line for $1,500, and I want to get it mounted before dinner. A group of Ryan's friends immediately volunteered to help. They began unpacking the massive television, reading instructions, arguing about which wall mount to use. I found a quiet corner and pulled out my phone. 3 missed calls from my property manager, David Chin. 2 texts from my CFO. 1 email marked urgent from my real estate attorney. I opened David's text. Lily, need to confirm. The Riverside Tower closing is set for 3 p.m. today. All documents are ready. This is the big one. Call me ASAP. I stepped into Ryan's empty kitchen and called David. Lily. Thank God. Are we good to proceed? Yes, I said quietly. Execute the purchase. $847 million is a lot of money even for you. You're sure about this? I've been sure for 6 months. The Riverside Tower is the crown jewel of downtown luxury real estate. Once we own it, we'll control 40% of the city's high-end residential market. Incredible. Okay, I'll confirm with the sellers. Expect the wire transfer to complete by 5 p.m. And Lily, congratulations. This is huge. Thanks, David. I hung up and checked my other messages. My CFO wanted to discuss Q4 projections. My attorney needed signatures on the Portland acquisition. My development team was finalizing plans for the Chicago high-rise conversion. Normal Saturday afternoon business for someone who ran a $3.2 billion real estate empire. I returned to the living room where Ryan and his friends were mounting the television. They'd finally gotten it on the wall and were now connecting cables, arguing about HDMI ports and sound systems. Lily. Ryan called. Come help us set up the smart features. You're good with technology, right? Sure, I said. I took the remote and navigated through the setup screens. Samsung Smart TV latest model, all the bells and whistles. When I reached the device pairing screen, I noticed it was automatically searching for nearby phones to sync. My phone was in my pocket. I should have turned off Bluetooth. I didn't. The TV found my iPhone and sent a pairing request. I accepted without thinking. Muscle memory from setting up my own smart home systems across my various properties. There, I said, handing the remote back to Ryan. All set. Awesome. Let's test it out. Ryan turned on the TV. The massive 85-inch screen lit up, showing the home screen. And then my phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from David Chin. The notification appeared on the TV screen. A banner across the top exactly like it would on my phone. Because the devices were synced. David Chin, property manager. MS Green. The downtown Riverside Tower sale closed. $847 million. You now own 40% of the city's luxury real estate. Congratulations on the biggest acquisition of your career. The room went silent. 30 people stared at the TV screen. The message stayed there for 10 seconds before disappearing. Ryan dropped the remote. It clattered on his new hardwood floor. What? Amanda started. What was that? I looked at the TV, then at my phone, then at my family's shocked faces. That was a text message, I said calmly. From my property manager. Your property manager? Mom whispered. My phone buzzed again. Another text from David appeared on the screen. David Chin. The wire transfer of $847 million has been confirmed. Riverside Tower is officially part of Green Property Holdings. Your portfolio now includes 47 residential buildings across 6 cities. Total portfolio value, $3.2 billion. Amanda made a sound like a dying animal. Another buzz. This time from my CFO Margaret. Margaret Santos. Lily, Q4 projections look incredible. Rental income up 23%, property values up 31%. We're on track to gross $890 million this year. You're officially a billionaire 3 times over. Champagne tonight. The room remained frozen. Ryan stared at the TV like it was showing alien footage. Another text from my attorney. James Park, real estate attorney. Portland acquisition documents ready for signature. The Pearl District Tower purchase at $340 million is ready to execute when you are. Also, the Seattle Waterfront Development Partners confirmed. They're thrilled to work with Green Property Holdings. My sister's champagne glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. Nobody moved to clean it up. Lily, Dad said slowly. What is Green Property Holdings? My company, I said. I own it. I founded it 7 years ago with money I saved working in property management. Started with one small apartment building. Grew from there. Grew to what? Ryan asked, his voice strangled. 47 residential buildings. Mostly luxury apartments and condos in high-demand urban markets. New York, Chicago, Seattle, Portland, Denver, Austin. About 8,000 residential units total. We also own 3 commercial towers, 2 mixed-use developments, and we're about to break ground on a luxury high-rise in Miami. Mom sat down heavily on Ryan's new sofa. 47 buildings? Yes. Worth. The portfolio is valued at approximately $3.2 billion. We generate about $890 million in annual revenue from rents and property management fees. After expenses, my personal net worth is around $2.1 billion. Amanda started laughing. High hysterical laughter. This is insane. This is, Lily, you can't just, you drive a 2014 Honda Civic. It runs fine. Why would I buy a new car? You live in a studio apartment. I live in a 600 square foot unit in a building I own. It's one of 40 units in the West Side Tower, a property I purchased 5 years ago for $8.2 million and renovated into luxury rentals. The building is now worth $23 million. My unit is convenient for work and costs me nothing since I own it. The West Side Tower, Dad said faintly. The luxury building on Morrison Street? That's the one. But that's in the best part of the West Side. That's not the bad part of town. No, I agreed. It's actually one of the most desirable addresses in the city. But you assumed I lived in the bad part because that fit your narrative. Ryan found his voice. You're a billionaire. You own $3.2 billion in real estate. The company owns it. I own the company. So yes, essentially. Jennifer was frantically Googling on her phone. Green Property Holdings. Oh my God. There are articles. Mysterious real estate mogul Lily Green. How a 32-year-old built a billion-dollar empire. Green Property Holdings reshapes urban luxury markets. She turned her phone around. There was a photo of me from a real estate industry conference, shaking hands with the mayor at a development announcement. That's from last month, I said. We broke ground on an affordable housing project downtown. 200 units. I'm donating the land and construction costs, about $45 million total. $45 million, Ryan repeated. You're donating $45 million? Yes. I work in housing like I told Jennifer earlier. I develop both luxury and affordable housing. The luxury properties fund the affordable ones. It's a sustainable model. My phone buzzed again. Another text on the big screen. David Chin. Forgot to mention. The penthouse in Riverside Tower is being prepared per your specifications. 6,000 square feet, panoramic city views, private elevator. Your new primary residence should be ready by December. Want me to start moving your things from the West Side unit? Mom made a whimpering sound. Penthouse, Amanda whispered. You're moving to a penthouse. In a building I own, yes. The West Side unit was fine for a while, but I wanted more space. The Riverside penthouse is essentially the crown jewel of my portfolio. Seemed silly not to live there. Dad stood up and walked to the window, staring out at Ryan's suburban street. Lily, you're telling us you own a real estate empire worth over $3 billion. You're a billionaire. And you never said anything? I tried to tell you, I said. 7 years ago when I started. I called and said I'd bought my first property. A small apartment building in a transitional neighborhood. Do you remember what you said? Silence. You said I was making a terrible mistake. That real estate was too risky. That I should focus on getting a stable job with benefits instead of gambling on property investment. Dad flinched. I called 3 years later when I'd acquired my 5th building. You said I was being reckless and I'd end up bankrupt. Mom cried and asked if I needed money. Mom was crying now. Real tears. I called last year when I crossed $1 billion in portfolio value. You thought I said $1 million and told me that was nice, but I should really think about my retirement savings. Oh my God, Ryan breathed. So I stopped trying to tell you. I built Green Property Holdings while you assumed I was barely surviving. I acquired 47 buildings while you pitted me for living in a dump. I became a billionaire while you tried to give me career advice. Jennifer was still scrolling on her phone. There's an interview here. From Real Estate Weekly. It says you started with $47,000 in savings and turned it into a $3.2 billion empire in 7 years. It calls you the most successful young real estate investor in the country. That interview was last month, I said. They wanted to feature me for their Women in Real Estate issue. Why didn't you tell us? Amanda demanded. Why let us think you were poor? I didn't let you think anything. You decided I was poor because I drove an old car and wore simple clothes and worked in housing. You created a narrative that made you feel superior and I didn't bother to correct it. That's cruel, Mom said. To let us worry about you. To let us offer help when you didn't need it. Was it cruel? I asked. Or was it revealing? You offered to help me with a condo down payment. $30,000 or $40,000, right? Meanwhile, I was closing million-dollar deals and you never noticed. You saw what you wanted to see. My phone buzzed again. My attorney, James Park, Lily, the mayor's office called. They want you to join the city's Urban Development Council. Apparently your work on affordable housing has impressed the entire city council. Interested? Another buzz. Margaret Santos, just ran the numbers. After the Riverside Tower acquisition, your personal net worth is now $2.3 billion. Welcome to the top 500 wealthiest people in America. Drinks definitely happening tonight. Ryan sat down next to Mom on the sofa. He looked at his new house, his $485,000 colonial that he'd been so proud of, and then at the messages on his TV screen. I bought this house, he said quietly. I thought I was doing so well. $485,000. I negotiated hard. Got the sellers down from $510,000. I was so proud. You should be proud, I said. It's a nice house. You just bought a building for $847 million. Different scale, I agreed. But Ryan, your house matters to you. That's what counts. Does it? He laughed bitterly. Does it count when my little sister, the one I thought was a struggling nonprofit worker, just casually bought almost $1 billion worth of real estate while I'm celebrating a $500,000 house? The Riverside Tower isn't just real estate, I said. It's a strategic investment that gives me market dominance in the luxury sector. It's 200 units of prime downtown living space. It's projected to generate $47 million annually in rental income. It's business. $47 million, Jennifer whispered. In rent. Every year. Give or take, depending on occupancy rates. Dad turned from the window. The nonprofit job. What do you actually do? I run the Green Foundation. It's a nonprofit I started 3 years ago, funded entirely by my real estate profits. We develop affordable housing, provide grants for first-time homebuyers in underserved communities, and fund financial literacy programs. Last year we helped 500 families achieve homeownership. That's actually what you do? Mom asked. You actually help people? Yes. I told you I worked in housing. I do. I develop luxury properties that generate profit, and I use that profit to develop affordable housing for people who need it. Both things are true. Amanda was shaking her head. I don't understand. If you're so rich, why do you live like you're poor? I don't live like I'm poor. I live efficiently. I drive a car that works. I wear clothes that are comfortable. I live in a unit that's convenient. I don't need to flash wealth to feel successful. But the clothes, Mom protested. The car. The way you let us think. I let you reveal who you are, I interrupted. For 7 years, you've treated me like a failure. Made jokes about my apartment, my job, my life choices. Not once did any of you ask me if I was happy, if I was proud of my work, if I was building something meaningful. We thought, Ryan started. You thought I was less than you because I didn't have the markers of success you valued. The new car, the suburban house, the corporate job. You measured my worth by your standards and found me lacking. I picked up my purse. I should go. I have a closing to celebrate. Wait. Mom stood. Lily, please. We're sorry. We didn't know. If we'd known. If you'd known I was a billionaire, you would have treated me differently. Yes. That's exactly the problem. Can we start over? Amanda asked desperately. Can we? God, Lily, you're worth $2 billion and we've been treating you like a charity case. You've been treating me like someone whose value you couldn't see, I corrected. Money doesn't change who I am. It just reveals who you are. My phone buzzed again. David Chen. David Chen. The Riverside Tower staff wants to throw you a celebration dinner tonight. In the penthouse. They're so excited about the acquisition. Should I tell them yes? I typed back, yes. 7 p.m. I'll be there. I looked up at my family. I'm having a celebration dinner tonight. At my new penthouse. In the building I just bought for $847 million. You're welcome to come if you want. But if you do, you need to understand something. I'm not celebrating becoming rich. I became rich years ago. I'm celebrating building something that matters. Something that's changing how cities develop housing, how communities grow, how wealth can be used to create opportunity. We want to come, Ryan said immediately. We want to understand. We want to know you. The real you. The real me has been here all along, I said. You just couldn't see her. I walked to the door then paused. Ryan, nice house. Seriously. I hope you and Jennifer are very happy here. Lily, Dad called. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I told you real estate was a bad investment. That you'd fail. That you should get a stable job. I was wrong about everything. Yes, I agreed. You were. But Dad, you taught me something valuable. You taught me that when everyone tells you you're making a mistake and you know in your gut you're right, that's when you push harder. So thank you for that. I left Ryan's suburban colonial and walked to my scratched 10-year-old Honda Civic. As I drove away, I looked in the rearview mirror at the house full of people who'd spent years underestimating me. They'd see the real me tonight. At my penthouse. In my building. They could handle it. I was Lily Green. Founder and CEO of Green Property Holdings. Owner of 47 buildings across 6 cities. Creator of affordable housing for 500 families. Developer of luxury residential properties worth $3.2 billion. And yes, billionaire. But more than that, I was someone who'd taken $47,000 and turned it into an empire that changed lives. I'd done it while they pitied me. While they offered to help me with down payments. While they worried about my dump apartment. And now they knew. The text message on Ryan's brand new $4,500 TV had revealed what 7 years of conversations couldn't. Sometimes the truth needs an 85-inch screen. And sometimes family needs to see your success on their new smart TV before they'll believe you built it. I drove my scratched Honda Civic toward downtown. Toward my West Side Tower. Toward my empire. Toward the celebration dinner in my new penthouse. Where I'd toast to $847 million acquisitions and affordable housing projects and the beautiful irony of being underestimated by people who thought they knew better. I'd built this empire without their belief. Without their support. Without them even noticing. And tonight I'd celebrate with the people who did notice. My staff, my team, the people who helped me build something extraordinary. Family could come if they wanted. But they'd be guests in my world now. Not judges of it. The penthouse awaited. And so did the rest of my empire.